Welcome to the Hopewell Vibe. I'm Tyree.
And I'm Josh.
And today we're talking about the band. Let's see how they sound.
Have you ever wondered what band was like? Let's hear from the perspective of a student.
Going out of my 8th grade year, I was thinking of dropping band, but I decided to come to the summer band camp for the marching band here, and that kind of just re-sparked my love and enthusiasm in playing music.
Now let's hear from the band teacher himself, Mr. Pierce.
I started band when I was in 4th grade, and my high school band director kind of influenced me to pursue music education when I went on to college, and so that's when I'm doing this today. My favorite part about teaching band is the process of going from the group sounding rough into them turning into a finished product, like having a very polished performance, and the process of the students feeling good about themselves and their work and how they've made music and were able to collaborate.
This student plays the saxophone in band. Let's hear what he has to say.
The reason I wanted to join is because I've been a music kid all throughout my life. I used to sing when I was a little younger, a little shorter, and I wanted to explore my horizons, and band was one of those because it dealt with music. So yeah.
That's enough band talk for today. This is Evan Wren with the Hopewell Vibe.
That was the band. Now we have a special message from JTC.
Firstly, we would like to start off by thanking Hopewell City Public School Board for gifting us this confidence course, because without them we wouldn't be able to improve ourselves mentally and physically.
Another thing that we would like to point out is that our police don't get enough recognition for the things they do for us and how they help us. So to show our appreciation, we would like to invite them to our Best Raves competition this year.
Historically, the relationship between Petersburg and Hopewell has been very bumpy. But with this event, we hope we can come together as neighboring communities and grow stronger together.
We support the U.S. military because they support us, as well as motivate us to be better physically and mentally so that we ourselves can be better citizens.
Lastly, we would like to thank the entire state of Virginia for allowing us the opportunity to show how good of a community Hopewell is.
Hopewell High School ROTC plans to host the first Best Writers competition, aiming to unite the community, foster and mental and physical challenge, and demonstrating growth opportunities while highlighting Hopewell's positive attributes.
Now we have Staff Spotlight featuring Ms. Taylor. Take it away.
My why for teaching is the relationships that I build with the students. I've been teaching quite some time, and the relationships I've built over the years, some of them are still lasting. My mom was a teacher years ago, and just the love she had for teaching and the relationship she built with her students. Even after she retired, the students were still keeping in contact. Some of them was keeping in contact with her. At Woodlawn Learning Center. Then I went to elementary at Harry James. Now I'm at the high school. I guess I've seen the changes in the students, because some of the students I may have had in preschool at elementary school, some elementary students I see now at the high school. But as far as changing, I guess they're changing with the times. It was a lot different when I first started, and there are some issues now that is kind of coming into the school system that wasn't a long time ago, and it's just some things we have to deal with. Like I said, I've been teaching a while, and I've had some semi-leadership roles in different schools, different states. Never assistant principal at that level, but I think I'm okay where I'm at.
Now it's time for Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
few questions with you. Are you smarter than the 5th grade?
Probably.
All right, I'm gonna start with my first question. Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
I don't know. George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
I don't know. Was it Abraham Lincoln?
No, ma'am. Who was the first vice president? Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
I don't know.
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
I'm not smarter than the 5th grade.
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you smarter than 5th grade?
Probably not, but let's go for it.
Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
His vice president.
Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
Is it John Kennedy or something like that? John Kennedy.
Few questions for you today. Are you smarter than 5th grade?
I wasn't last year, but let's see.
Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Who was the first vice president? Who was the first president?
G-Dubs, George Washington.
Who was the first vice president?
John Adams.
I got a few questions for you today. Are you smarter than 5th grade?
Yes, I am.
Who was the first president?
Mr. Cherry.
Who was the vice president?
Miss Pinky Hall.
Yes, ma'am. Next, we have sports with Emmeline Franco.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sports Center here at the Hopewell Vibe. We are here to talk about all things sports. I'm your host, Emmeline Franco. In this week's segment, we are here to talk about wrestling. In this segment, we are here to promote girls and boys wrestling.
It was just something I wanted to try out because I did cheer for like my whole life and I wanted to try a new sport out, so.
In wrestling, there are many stereotypes. Today, we want to focus more on women's wrestling.
Are there any struggles you faced throughout the season? And if so, how did you overcome them?
Yes, wrestling boys. They always took me for granted, but I always gave them a run for my money, so.
Oh! Yes, ma'am, Jasmine.
Now let's hear from some of our wrestling staff and their opinions on women's wrestling.
Before becoming a manager, did you know anything about wrestling?
I didn't really know anything about the sport except for stereotypes that other people said, so I just wanted to learn more and see what that would be like from my own perspective.
People come from all different backgrounds and have all kinds of different potential, and that if people are at different places in their journey, just because you're in one place doesn't mean you can't get to another. So people deserve second chances and they deserve opportunities.
What are your thoughts about women's wrestling finally achieving its own women's division?
I'm very happy that they've achieved emerging sport status, and hopefully we do continue on the track where we are so that women's wrestling does become its own division, which should happen within a couple of years. It's something that I've been on a committee working towards for about 8 years now, and so I'm very excited that it's finally happening.
Now let's hear from one of our new female wrestling coaches and her opinions on starting a new season.
I'm super excited, excited for a new season and just bringing a new perspective into the sport. Been around mixed martial arts and as well as just sports in general, so working with athletes is something that I'm always interested in.
I would say personally for me, watching the girls that we had on the team, it seemed like they had more fun learning a different sport that was not stereotypically placed on girls, and so the victories for them made it more like personal and sweeter, especially when they did wrestle with guys and in their girl competitions.
What I'm looking forward to this season is having more girls come out to wrestle.
You heard it here. Come out and try wrestling.
Now, back to you guys.
That's been the Hopewell Vibe. Thank you for watching.
See y'all next week.